every once in a while, millions and millions of people become sick overnight, even though nothing about their health has changed. People diagnosed with a whole bunch of different diseases have skyrocketed in the last few decades, and we're going to delve into why. This is something they don't want you to hear, and we're going to start right after this. Welcome, everybody. This is the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. I'm your co-host, Scott Patton. Joining us, as usual, Martin Pytela, health engineer. Hey, Martin, how are you doing today?
Doing good. I've been contemplating several things. One of them was looking at a piece of statistics that said that only 12% of United States population was metabolically healthy.
Ouch.
Yeah, go
Greetings,
figure.
George. Good to see you here. Thank you for joining us as usual.
Yeah, thanks, George. Nice to see you. You're probably one of the people that is metabolically fine, I think.
He says, ever read one of those pharma inserts? Those aren't side effects. That's an autopsy. You wrote that before we started. I know, because I saw the comment before we went live, and I thought George is so in tune with this particular episode.
Yeah.
And before we start, I just want to say one thing, because people need to hear it over and over and over again. And we specialize in helping people escape the industrial food and drug trap by understanding your unique genetic blueprint, your metabolic type. You can turn chronic degenerative problems into stories of restoration and pain-free living. And when you fix some of your problems, make sure you tell your family and your friends, because nobody believes that eating properly, getting enough rest, exercising, good water can make a difference. And we're here to tell you it can. So,
right, Scott, that the discovery that you showed me today is just so profound. I think the timeline tells it. Go ahead, just do this presentation.
Here we go. We're going to start because we're going to talk about manufactured epidemics. Because so often in the last 60 years, what's been normal is all of a sudden abnormal.
It's a redefinition. You just simply redefine a situation.
Yeah. So we had this change that happened, and prediabetes was created in 72 million people. We lowered cholesterol, and 12.9 million people all of a sudden became sick. And
we changed the definition of what represents hypertension or high blood pressure. And all of a sudden, 31 million people were reclassified from okay to not okay.
Yep.
Or better yet, to don't need to medicate to need to medicate.
Right.
And that is the $64,000 question. How do I get more prospects into my funnel?
If we could just eliminate greed, what a wonderful world this would be. So let's talk a little bit about the overnight epidemic. 115 million Americans got a chronic disease without getting any sicker. In other words, you went to sleep last night, you woke up this morning to discover that you were sick.
Yeah.
So when diagnosing an epidemic, stop debating diet trends and ask two questions. When exactly did this happen? And who was in the meeting room right before?
In other words, this is a good one. Yeah.
Who are the suspects?
Show the graph. That one just really tells it right there.
Yeah. Yeah.
Right.
So diabetes, it spiked in 2010.
Yeah. And that's by redefinition. Now, still, what you want to pay attention to is that these are rising lines. They are rising. but the jump is telling. That's the redefinition.
Yeah. Hypertension jumped in 2017, and there was some mysterious jump around the end of 2020. Don't know what that could possibly be. So one of the things
on the next slide.
Yeah. But I want to emphasize what you just said, Martin. I think it's really important. Is the diabetes was rising, the hypertension was rising. I don't know what the bottom one was, but it was rising, and which means we have a problem. And the spike means somebody recognized the problem. And I'm going to say this as a fiction. If I was writing a detective story, I would say that there was a problem, it was rising, and someone said, let's make this worse in terms of statistics, because then we can sell more of stuff that's going to solve this problem. And I think that's really what's going on, is diabetes is rising. Look how bad it's been from 1990 to 2000 to 2005. So it's a problem, everybody. And then boom, all of a sudden, wow, millions more people have this problem, and we need to do something about it. And of course, there's only one thing you can do, which is prescribe more drugs.
Yeah, Scott, the third one that you are puzzling about is cholesterol.
Okay. I thought there was something else beginning with C.
No. And here's an interesting thing, right? Like when you define that only the outliers, the 2 sigma and 3 sigma outliers are a problem, but all of a sudden you just completely move it to the middle, as in 1 sigma, you just add a huge quantity of people into the statistics, into the potential.
Right. And isn't it interesting that if you were kind of a little bit beyond average and you're in that red zone, you now have a problem.
Yeah.
Whereas before, when you, like, average is average, right? And well, let's assume that average is relatively healthy.
Well, no, average is relatively unhealthy. I just opened this show with 12% of Americans are metabolically well. That also means that something like 88% are not. So the normal is not healthy.
The new normal nor the old normal.
I would say, I should have said differently. The average is not healthy.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so let's talk about some of these shifts. And hypertension is first on our list.
Yeah, so that was the hike in 2017 when they discovered that they could move the normal from 140/90 to 130/80. So all of a sudden, 31 million people who were in that range, slightly high, is now unacceptably high and is under a threat of dying, and we need to administer you drugs.
Yeah. And then the second thing was cholesterol, as you had mentioned, 2001, 2013.
Yeah.
That's a huge drop from 190 to 130.
Yeah, that's a total redefinition. And the cholesterol coincides with the famous drugs of statin drugs. They lower the cholesterol. They did it in 2 steps. And it's a $2 billion decision. All of a sudden, everybody's told, take a statin, your cholesterol's too high.
So overnight, 12.9 million patients were created, and over 86 million today.
Yeah.
And dare we ask how things are going in the Alzheimer realm?
Yeah.
And then the last one was pre-diabetes, 2010.
Yeah, that was the blood glucose level.
Yeah.
It
and
used
it never
to be,
even existed before. It was like you were diabetic or you weren't. Now you're pre-diabetic.
Yeah. Yeah, that's it.
You give 72 million more patients.
Mind you, this is the one that I would find the least argument with, because this is the one about people being metabolically unwell and wanting to suggest that, yes, we actually should pay attention here. But the solution should not be drugs. The solution should be lifestyle changes.
Exactly. And I think that runs down to the whole thing is they're looking for ways that they can sell more pills, and we're looking for ways that you can get more exercise, more rest, better nutrition, and clean water.
Yeah.
All right. So, and this is the part that just blew my mind. In the United States, they went to 130/80, stage 1 hypertension. Millions were newly medicated, whereas the UK, the EU, Canada, Japan, Australia, they said, nah, we're not changing.
We're good.
So we're good.
Nobody's dying. You see, the problem is this, that the mortality of this is none. No change.
That's right. Okay, so now we're going to talk about
the committee. You see, it's the committee that's it's a conglomeration of health insurance companies together with the pharmaceutical companies, together with the medical advisory board that sits down and says, here's what we think we should be telling the world. And
right.
So we sit down and we say, well, if we have more people in this category, money is made. That's where the diagnostic thresholds are redefined. And what that leads... Go on.
Sorry, I was going to say, sorry. I can't put that back up, John. Kevin had it perfectly. Just cross the border and all of a sudden you're okay. Right on, Kevin. Okay,
yeah, take
so
a flight.
Back to you, Martin.
Yeah, anyway, the polypharmacy trap, right? All of a sudden, you are told that you should take a pill. The problem with that pill is that it's a toxic affair, so that will have a side effect of some sort, which will start twisting your physiology and leads to an additional prescription. And I talk to people with hypertension, and they just say, well, I'm on a calcium channel beta blocker, I'm on a diuretic, and I'm on an anti-stress pill, all at the same time. They don't even guess, or they don't even try to diagnose what the primary trigger is. They just say, well, take all three.
Yeah. It's like candy in a candy store.
Yeah.
And we don't see any reduction in mortality.
Of course not.
Which that first chart actually showed, right? I mean, after we had the spike, it continued up. If it was doing good, you would think it would go down.
Yes. Yeah, that happened. Know about that for logic.
So now we get to the paradigm pivot. So
yeah,
you may have a chronic disease, and
that was the slow rise of the curve.
That's right. But these spikes are all manufactured by humans.
Yep.
So let's talk about the elephant in the room.
The genuine illness?
Yeah.
Well, the genuine illness is this 88% of Americans being metabolically unwell, which starts with the plate and the fork and what you put on it. And the trouble we have is the following. The subsidized agriculture grows food that's primarily carbohydrate focused. So we grow excessive amounts of wheat, corn, soy, lentils, and potatoes. And well, that's probably the story there. So we have an overabundance of that. Instead of subsidizing carrots and broccoli and lettuce, we're subsidizing these high calorie inputs. That leads to this genetic mismatch because most of us were supposed to be eating a balanced diet, but we're not eating balanced anymore. We're eating food that's subsidized. It's the breakfast cereal, the granola, the food bar, even the so-called protein bar that is 20% protein is still 70% carbohydrate. Anyway, that's the story there. So the agricultural industry, subsidized by the chemical industry that makes the fertilizer, in cahoots with their new owners, right? Back in the 1960s, when the tobacco companies saw the writing on the wall that tobacco is going to become the pariah of our society, they went on with all the cash and started buying up food companies. So R&R, Reynolds and Reynolds, bought Kraft and Heinz and I don't know what. The Philip Morris bought itself Weight Watchers and Heinz, and went ahead and created specialization with food addiction. They were already good at addiction with cigarettes. They now built food addiction through I call it the food porn. They create food so finely tuned that you just can't eat only one.
Yeah. And it's chemically finely tuned too, which, what becomes the difference between a chemical pill and a chemical Dorito?
Yeah. All right.
So, and this is our favorite. We seem to see this particular slide in a different form every week or every 2 weeks, and that is the polluted fish tank.
Yeah.
And if you're a fish and you have high blood pressure and you are in water that is really crappy, the best drugs in the world aren't going to help you.
Yeah, and so the signals, right? Here's an interesting thing. The commonality of it is stress. Your autonomic nervous system has two branches: the rest and repair and digest, where you sleep well and relax and repair the damage, and the other one called fight or flight, which is triggered by external stimuli, but also internal. When you live in fear, when you live in anxiety, when you live in always scrolling and expecting the next thing, when you're driving in traffic, having to look forward, left, right, back, front, left, front, always 24-hour, or what, not 24-hour, 360-degree spatial awareness, always watching for danger. That's not normal. That's highly stressed. And when you're in stress, cortisol is released. And when cortisol is released, it causes glucose to flood your muscles, which is followed by an insulin spike to remove that excess glucose. So what's that giving us? It's giving us people whose blood picture is off. It's the after effect of stress. So that's where you see all of those little things in there where it says cortisol, inflammation, sleep quality, insulin, what's that one? Gut function. All of that is tied together into the stress triggered lifestyle.
Yeah.
So the problem is living in the modern society, right? As we are, urban life.
So Kevin says, related to fish, as someone said, you cannot dry yourself off while you're in the shower.
Yes, that's a beautiful metaphor. Yeah.
Exactly. All right. So this is what you were just talking about, chronic insulin elevation. You're going to get stiff arteries, hypertension, increased cholesterol, resistance, and diabetes. And then, of course, your metabolic type. If you know your metabolic type, you can understand what foods you're going to eat that really help you and what foods you eat that are going to cause problems. And, it's surprising how many times someone feels really, really good. I know I feel really, really good. And then I eat something that I probably shouldn't have, and I feel really, really bad. And as a broken record, I keep saying, have a journal. Write down what you're eating, what you're drinking. Yeah. Keep that stuff. Keep track of that stuff. Some of it, like bread, takes 10 days to get out of your system, but other things, you like. I remember once I was playing tennis and there was a plant, and with spikes on it, and the ball went beside the plant. So I went to pick up the ball. I wasn't paying attention, and I poked myself on the thorn, and my hand in 10 minutes blew up. Like it just blew up, right? And so there was no doubt in my mind that was a reaction to the plant. So stay away from the plant. And unfortunately, a lot of times what we eat and what we drink, we don't first of all, we eat so much of it and drink so much of it, we're used to it, right? Like I know a lot of people that drank a Coke a day, stopped for a month, and then they tried having one Coke and they couldn't help. It was just awful. They couldn't stand the taste, and it also made them feel terrible. But they were so used to it over time, right? So you need to go through your withdrawal and understand that you're not going to have the thorn of the cactus experience that I had with most of our foods. It's going to take a while for you to figure out what's good for you and what's not.
Three things here on this. With metabolic typing, when we do the metabolic typing test, we actually distribute a thing called DCR, Daily Check Record. And on it, we ask you to write down what you ate, especially in the ratios between carbohydrate, fats, and proteins, and then score yourself on how full you feel after your meal, whether you do have any cravings after, whether you feel like snacking after, whether you feel unsatisfied in any way. We also ask you about your energy, whether you're sleepy and tired or whether you're energized and ready to take on the world. And we also ask you about your emotions, where you are on the irritable and short-tempered and perhaps anxiety-riddled, or whether you are on the opposite side, where you would be lethargic and sleepy and depressed, that sort of thing. All of which is leading you toward understanding that the food inputs, specifically the macronutrient ratios, have direct impact on your physiology. And it does create this inflammation, right? If you have high insulin, that is going to give you high inflammation, which is going to give you high stiffness and rigidity and all level of trouble.
Right on.
Yeah. Anyway,
that's I don't know if you heard that or not, but that was the crowd honking their horns in support of what you just said. As soon as I unmute myself, the horn goes. It's been quiet the whole time while we were listening.
Oh, well, no worries.
So the environmental trigger: high carb diets, refined sugars and starches, insulin elevation.
Yeah. So this is not a problem for everybody. We have these three major metabolic types. This would be adrenal, thyroid, and pituitary. And depending on which you are, you will have different relationship with high carbs. The thyroid types are attracted to starchy foods. The adrenal types are attracted to savory foods, and pituitary are attracted to creamy and fluffy yogurts and whipping creams and that sort of thing. But anyway, when you overdo the carbs in your diet, as they fall apart in digestive system, they turn into pure glucose. And when you have pure glucose running in your arteries, insulin has to be released to deal with that. And so as the title says, this is not lack of medication. This is a modern dietary environment.
Yeah. And you can do something about it. And the number one thing you can do is turn off your TV, stop watching commercials that are tempting you to eat potato chips and drink soft drinks and all that sort of stuff. And I've noticed in TV shows and movies, they have tons of product placement. So you need to get out of that environment where you are being constantly subconsciously told to eat the wrong things. So let's talk about the flaw in the research, because we have randomized controlled trials, Martin, that tells us that this is all safe.
Well, you know, this is like testing the front left tire on your car. It's the bizarrest thing, right? The reductionist statistical research always tries to compare one variable against an absence or presence of this one variable. But the world is way more complex than that. So there's just no way that you can ever isolate it like that.
Yeah. And also, we have one pill for one thing, but what happens when you're on 8 pills?
No, let's ask it differently. What happens when you have 7 problems?
There
Right?
you go.
That's
7
where you end up with 7 pills, which will create additional side effects that will require 5 more pills. That's how you end up on 12. I had a woman call me and said, well, I have problems. I said, tell me what pharmaceuticals you take. And she starts listing it. She ended up with 15 pharmaceuticals. One of them had a side effect of increasing anxiety. The other one had the target of lowering the anxiety. I said, please ask your doctor to decide which is it. Are you overly anxious or too little anxious? Don't take both. But anyway, that was just a little observation.
Right.
She didn't need
So
any of it.
Kevin says, I gained fat fast watching TV and eating potato chips. Gave that up years ago, though. Good for you, Kevin.
Yeah, right on. Yeah, that's the thing, right?
George, good for you. Yeah. The same with me, right? Like, man, you sit down and we've been so strongly, and I think this is something people don't realize. All of this is manipulation, and these people have been studying it full time for 70 or 80 years, if not longer. And so they know what they're doing. And we think, oh, I'm an individual. I have my own sovereign mind and nobody can influence me against my will. And you have to realize that's totally wrong, right?
Yeah.
And like George says, she's walking blindfolded into a minefield. Yeah. And I think most of us are. And
Yeah.
I grew up watching Canadian football, right? So what happens if I sit down and I watch the full game? I am looking for Doritos, popcorn, a beer, root beer, a pizza, all these things, and my solution, because, I still like it, is I watch the 10 minutes summary on YouTube on my iPad while I'm in a forest or a park somewhere. so that I don't end up
the other solution, Scott. The other solution is that you just don't bring it into the house.
And you don't bring it into the house. Yes. And that happens too, which is really bad, because at 8 o'clock, you will see Scott opening every cupboard in his kitchen, knowing there is nothing in behind the door that he can eat, but he will do it twice. So humans are complex. Biology requires stacking multiple lifestyle factors simultaneously. We can't just expect one drug to solve all of our problems. And this is the lifestyling.
Yeah, you have to. Yeah, the 4 wheels, right? The whole thing has to fit together. And this, stress. When you reduce your stress, your cortisol goes down. You will sleep better. One of the ways to work off cortisol and adrenaline is to actually exercise. You need to do physical movement. That is one of the safest and easiest way to get rid of the effects of stressful life. Is go to a gym and lift weights or punch a bag or do something physical.
Go for a walk up a hill.
Yeah, something more aggressive. Yeah, maybe up a hill. All right. And if you're lucky, interestingly, they also threw in the lower your carbs, as in if you're putting on weight or if your insulin level is high, you definitely need to have more fat in your diet, which exactly needs to be a lower carb versus higher fat.
Yeah, and bring up George's comment again, John. You want to disconnect the Pavlovian response. I think that's a brilliant quote, George. And make sure you put it in our quote list, John, because I think that's awesome. We do have Pavlovian responses to things that go around.
Yeah, we have been well trained. And that's actually the basis of all advertising. If you show it 100 times, it's going to become part of your subconscious reality. This goes right back to Goebbels, the propaganda minister in Germany in the 1930s, who said 1,000 times repeated lie becomes a truth.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Okay, Martin, we've talked about changing diets and that sort of stuff, and I think it's time that we talk about a few products that can help people do that. And
the transition is, if you can't let go of the carbs, at least you can modify it. Right. And that's the first one. Show it, please, which is the berberine. The berberine is a interesting plant thing. You're going for stressies. Okay, that's fine too.
No, I changed it. It's berberine now.
Okay, well, the berberine is essentially deal with the elevated glucose in your blood. If you already know that your glucose is high, you will know this by checking your blood test and looking at the HbA1c. The A1C tells you your 90-day average for the last while, and 3 months really. And if it's higher than 5.5, you're on the too much glucose. If it's higher than 5.8, you're definitely high glucose. And if it's over 6, you're actually ill. This is the pre-diabetic.
Right. So berberine helps in many ways.
Absolutely. Helps you bring it down. But berberine has a buddy. It needs to be combined with milk thistle. And so we actually combine it with holy tea, which is a milk thistle herbal tea. So that in combination will help to heal your gut, heal your liver, eliminate the stuff from your diet. You will have better elimination. You will have less belly fat. You will have an overall much better experience of life.
And as someone who has had severe problems with their liver in the past, let me say that you will always be happy if your liver is happy, and the liver detox is an important thing to be doing.
Yeah, right on.
Okay, so let's talk now about stress
pull back the stress ease, because that was the thing that I wanted to say. That is how you actually can condition your response. Stress ease is an adaptogenic tincture, meaning it helps your body to cope with stress better. So if you live a stressful life, use this frequently, use this often. It will help you not have the spikes of the stress hormones, which will then eliminate the spikes of the glucose, which will then eliminate the spikes of the insulin, which will eliminate the weight gain around your belly button.
So instead of spiraling up and getting bigger, you're going to be spiraling down and getting better.
Yeah.
Or vice versa. So if it's too late or you have some problems, then Heart Studies formula is something we want you to know about.
Yeah, this thing is awesome in the repair of the metabolic dysregulation and dysfunction. You know, when I said that 88% of Americans are metabolically unwell, they are a prospect for this. This complex blend, 200 plus ingredients, helps you deal with anything cardiovascular, the consequences of dysregulated glucose metabolism. One of the most important ingredients in it is chromium and vanadium. Those are the trace minerals that help you manage the glucose. And there's exactly much more to it, way much more to it than that.
Well, and each page has a lot of information for you to study as much as you want, or hopefully you've got some trust with Martin and I now. And if you've got any concerns about your heart, check this one out. It's amazing.
Yeah. As you scroll down, Scott, quite a ways down, related articles, you were there. There we go. Read about the ingredients in action. Read about why the coenzyme Q10 is relevant. Read about what the basics are. So you get to understand why this is and what this is.
Yep. Awesome. All right, Martin, we've come to the end of our time together. I thought we were going to be way short, but as usual, we had, George says, get on board, folks. Yes.
All aboard.
All aboard. It's time to take control of your health and make some good changes in your lifestyle and in what you're putting in your mouth. Make sure you like, subscribe. We're going to be returning again next week on Wednesday at 11:30 Pacific, 2:30 Eastern. This has been the Life Enthusiast Health Shots podcast, restoring vitality to you and the planet. Thanks for joining us, everybody. We'll see you next time. Bye for now.
My body's a temple, but the walls are cracked. Stuck in the rubble of the years I've stacked. Stagnation in my veins like a river to the dust. Toxic whispers in the wind, but I gotta rebuild. I must.